And good afternoon. Simon Fuller live for Fuller Digital Solutions and the O'Brien County Fair, of course, our sponsor, along with the O'Brien County Farm Bureau. O'Brien County Farm Bureau, a group that do projects, offer service and support, all for great causes here in Iowa. There's one organization that does all three, of course. That is the O'Brien County Farm Bureau. From exclusive member discounts on benefits and services to community support through programs, scholarships, and financial assistance, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to making rural Iowa a better place for everyone. Call O'Brien County Farm Bureau and join today. Well, Andrea's getting ready to come up here, and she'll be our main talent along with Mr. Eric Komos, who is just in the process of getting a program. Eric Komos, just a big thank you for joining our broadcast. And one thing I've got to ask you, Eric, is just give me a little bit about who you are. Let me hold that mic up to you and tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're here giving us all your talents and expertise.
Okay, so I grew up over Germantown Way. Grew up showing lambs for 4-H FFA member back in the day, south of Bryan grad. Now I'm high school agriculture teacher over at Sioux Central. Also have some livestock meat judging experience as well. So looking forward to add to the broadcast and hopefully streaming out to all of y'all today.
All right. Well, Eric, we appreciate you being here. I'm going to turn my headset over to Andrea, who's going to be running the camera on the show pretty much for the duration. But, again, thanks to O'Brien County Farm Bureau and the O'Brien County Fair Board for making these streams possible. And thank you for joining us today. And, of course, to all the youth who have entered into this show. This show is the Sheep Show, Lamb, and Goat Show. And we'll step aside for the announcer.
Okay. 1 year. Yeah.
The judge doesn't really judge. We have 2 pens of lambs this year. It's a point system based on rate of gain, feed efficiency, probability, and record keeping. So they send me the feed records every 2 weeks, and we'll have all the projects done tonight. But what Tabby will give me today is a price.
Okay.
Fair market price. One more pen coming.
So yes, right here we have the Advanced Lamb Feeder Projects.
Welcome to the O'Brien County 2020 Fair Sheep Show. Our judge today is Tabitha Shahan of Jefferson, Iowa. Passing out trophies and ribbons today are Paige Daigle, 2020 County Fair Queen, Eric Mars, 2020 County Fair King, and Sierra Stammer, 2020 County Fair Princess. Northwest Iowa sheep producers will provide premium money for advanced lamb feeder projects. Harold and Sharon Stammer are sponsoring the trophies for Champion and Reserve Champion Commercial View in memory of their grandson, Chris Combs. We appreciate their support.
Okay, so with this, what these kids are doing, they started, this project started about in early May for them. They brought in 5 lambs and they got weighed. And then throughout this entire time, they've submitting feed records and all of this to try to see how profitable the whole operation was feeding them. It's about as real-life simulation as we can get as far as trying to see not ultimately what the lamb looks like at the end of the roll. The bigger purpose is, can we make money on it? Is it efficient? And what are you doing to be profitable with your lamb feeding operation?
So they're really getting real life knowledge here. So
Exactly.
To their next stage.
Yes.
Well, we're sure glad to have you today, Eric. I turned off my microphone. There we go. Andrea here with Eric Komos again, who's joining us with the O'Brien County Fair. We want to thank the O'Brien County Farm Bureau office as well for sponsoring today. Eric will be with us commentating throughout the day, and we appreciate that he's given us that lowdown on what some of this might mean. And gosh, these kids have worked hard all year. We're really glad that we've been able to put on a fair this year and bring you these live streams with Fuller Digital Solutions. So turn it back over to you. Eric, how many years did you show at the O'Brien County Fair?
Showed all 9 years. Showed sheep and showed swine, so kept me fairly busy during Fair
bet
Week
it
over
did.
the years. But
What are some of the things that these 4-Hers take away from their time in 4-H and FFA?
some of the biggest things aren't necessarily, I mean, they learn a ton of content skills, like how to raise a lamb, but the bigger takeaways they're going to get is those soft skills. So they develop some responsibility because, believe it or not, sheep want to be fed every day.
Imagine that.
The responsibility piece, being dependable, being reliable, to always be there to feed them, being, once show season comes on, being able to get them walking and to get them to look the way you want them. Those are critical. Also, along with developing that communication piece. Hopefully, a little bit of financial management pieces. The goal is hopefully we can see through these projects you can end up making money on the other end as well.
Right.
So a lot of skills they can take anywhere they want to, regardless of if they're in agriculture moving forward or not.
And then working with the judge, too. I know the judge always looks for those showmanship skills, too, don't they?
Exactly.
You learn a lot of confidence with that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Here we are with you today, so it must have really worked, huh?
Yeah.
It's some good
Let's not
showmanship.
go that far. Now, this is one last set of pen. With that, that's going to end our pen lamb portion of the event.
Okay.
As we wait here, I believe we've got the commercial ewes up next, so
Okay.
we're going to be looking at evaluating some breeding type animals.
And while we wait for that, we do have the poultry show also streaming starting at 12:30. We have provided a link, I believe, on the O'Brien County Fair Facebook page. It's on the Fuller Digital Solutions Facebook page. And then we also have it on our Fuller Digital Solutions channel. If you want to look that up on YouTube, just look at Poultry Show and you'll find that link as well. Right now streaming the sheep show and lambs and goats.
Got some brief technical difficulties with the mic in the barns, which is why we got the bit of the hold up here. But
Is this quite a bit different from years past? I mean, I know they're having to follow some different guidelines. I haven't seen how they've conducted this another year so far.
things have changed definitely a little bit. Biggest things have kind of been like your show lineup, and you're used to bringing lambs in here on Sunday. And
Right,
making
they
sure
almost would have
everything.
stayed all week, but today just
Yeah, you're
arrived
there
today
all
and go home.
week. Yeah, so there's a few things that are just different. You're in a different barn,
Oh.
because usually we're over in the sheep barn, but when you're only having critters in one day
Right.
and out, we can move them into the hog barn, which is a much closer location. So there's some advantages, some disadvantages,
Right.
but the biggest things is just kind of been different.
Right. Everyone's adjusted pretty well, so that's good. I know
Yeah.
right now they're just waiting to get that intercom system to the back, but it looks like we've got our
Oh,
next
we got
exhibitor.
lambs coming, so that's what we like to see here. So here we got a class of commercial use. So the end goal of these lambs is they're going to end up as production style use to hopefully raise lambs that we'll see at next year's fair and the subsequent years after. For the most part, the things you're looking for, our judge is looking for, are about the same. Some big things that are different from what we'll see later in the market lambs. They want some capacity, some body size that become really important because at the end of the day, these are hopefully going to carry 2-3 lambs every time come February. Along with that, structure becomes a lot more of the importance as hopefully these animals will walk and be able to function well in a herd for 8, 9, 10 years, hopefully. When it comes to showing any livestock species, it's all about presentation and how to make your lamb look as best as possible. And right now, by standing on the other side, you're hopefully giving that judge a good view of its front, which on the front side is good. We'll let the mic finish up here. So it's all about presentation, and on that front side of the animal, especially in these ewe classes, it's all about femininity is really important, because ideally we want our female ewes to look like a female and be clean up front, because we want that design factor. That's a lot more important here than when we get to the market lambs later. So they're trying to present that in a way so they can be able to see. Now, you'll notice this is our first of, I believe, 3 heats of ewes. These are all blackface ewes, so predominantly, if you think breeding-wise, of Suffolk and Hampshire genetics, which they're known for exceptional muscling ability. So these are going to breed lambs that are heavy-muscled, that grow fast. Those are the 2 major big advantages of both of these types of ewes. Judges here making their final deliberations on this class. What she's doing right now is when she's pressing the lamb like you're seeing, she's trying to see the muscle and fat composition of the animal. So when you feel, hopefully muscle is firm, whereas fat's going to squish a little bit. So hopefully we don't see a lot of squishing where it moves a whole lot. That's not a great sign. It means it's a little on the over-conditioned side. And when you see like the exhibitor like right in front of you that's pressing his knee into the front end of the animal, it's essentially going to stimulate what we would do if we flex. It's going to flex the muscle so it's tight, so the judge will be able to feel how truly muscled it is, whereas ordinarily it may not be able to feel what that muscle looks like.
They get quite a workout, no doubt about that.
Yes. Lucky it's a cool day, which is both a blessing and a curse.
Right.
It's cool for you, so you're not just sweating profusely all day. On the flip side, the lambs are a bit spunkier. And
oh, sure. Heat probably does make them a little quieter.
They're a little bit more docile when it's 110 because they just want to go back to the barn. But
same thing happens to my beagle, my dog.
Yeah, I think we're all a little bit like that. We all just kind of want to go back to the barn when it's that hot. But no. So if your lamb's a little on the wilder side.
Right.
We may have a few get loose before the day is over.
That's where the fun begins. Judge has placed, and we're ready to hear her in just a minute. Okay.
So you couldn't hear the mic PA. Courtney Decker was champion Blackface U with
and then her
Peyton
sister.
Decker. Yes,
Yeah.
Peyton Decker
Courtney
was
and
the reserve champion Blackface. Now we're going to have the speckle face commercial U come in.
Okay. And is that merely just a change in their look?
So speckled faces, and I think we've got one white face later. So what these are, they're a crossbred genetics. You can have black face ewes, you can have white face ewes, you can even have red face purebred ewes, but you can never have a speckled face purebred ewe. So this is an example of crossbreeding, where those black face breeds we just saw earlier are going to cross with a white face breed, which we'll see one white face later here, which those are known for maternal traits, so they're good mothers, produce a lot of milk, produce a lot of lambs. So by utilizing both of those two breeds together in a system, they can then get the benefits of both sides.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So you'll usually see where they have a white female and a black ram, and together you get speckled-faced lambs.
There we go.
Yep.
Learning so much. We're appreciating having Eric Colmos join us today, giving us the expertise on our lamb and goat show.
Yeah. Yeah, these are... If you go around the commercial world of lambs, you see probably speckled face are probably the most popular ones you're going to find, because it balances both.
More efficient, exactly.
Best of both worlds. So with that class of speckled face ewes,
took grand champion for the speckled face commercial ewe, followed by Bryce Dodge with reserve.
yeah, Will Stout the champion and Bryce Dodge in second. Now we're going to bring out a white face ewe. Should be shown by Abby Stout. Just a single entry. But white face ewes, there's a whole lot of variety within them.
Now on the white face commercial ewe, Abby Stout is in the ring.
There's a ton of different breeds of white-faced sheep that you can see, especially if you go to a larger fair like a Clay County or a state fair. For example, this one appears to be Dorset influenced. So Dorset's a very popular white-faced breed, known for having a lot of lambs, being really good mothers, and still with some carcass traits that help it as well. You'll see if you go to a larger fair, this is where you get all of the wool-type sheep. So all the sheep you're going to see here today are used for meat production predominantly. Okay. You're going to see these predominantly where they'll go to Colorado to be processed and then will end up a lot of times going to export to fulfill global demand. However, some of your white-faced breeds, and especially if you go to a larger fair, you'll see where they're not sheared like they are today, where they have all their wool on and they're dirty, they look dirty to you. Well, that's because those are wool breeds. So if you think like merinos, like the ones that make your Ugg boots, that's merino wool on the inside. And those are used predominantly for wool, so they're not going to shear it because that influences their wool quality.
But it's the same breed in the end. Just
different breeds, just different functions of what they do.
Wonderful.
Now we've got a lot of great potential for this young lady's ewe lamb. Give her a round of applause.
That was Abby Stout, your champion white-faced commercial ewe. So, example, the wool quality of all these lambs here. If you've ever had the experience with an itchy pair of wool socks, this is the wool that you're getting off of. Their purpose on this earth is not for wool production; they're more on the meat side.
But sometimes when you have that and you still need wool, you still use it. I'm sure there's
still a use, but
right.
It's not as valuable, which is why we're fine shearing them. So now we've got our final drive of commercial ewes. So we brought in the champions from the black face, from the speckled face, and the white face champion. And from that, our judge, Tabitha Strahan, is going to select our champion and reserve overall commercial ewe.
in the condition that they're in, the second time I want to put them out there with the buck, that they're going to be able to get stuck and have a baby for me come January, February. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to congratulate your grand and your reserve.
So Courtney Decker, your champion commercial U, and with Peyton Decker as your reserve champion commercial U.
Overall, the grand champion goes to Courtney Decker and reserve to Peyton Decker. Harold and Sharon Stammer are sponsoring the trophies for champion and reserve champion commercial U in memory of their grandson, Chris Combs. We appreciate their support.
So now we got in the biggest lambs we're going to see today. These are the mature ewes. We got 3 entries. So these are yearling ewes, so they have already had 1 lamb. And they're back for round 2 at the O'Brien County Fair. So.
And they don't use leads. They just have to do it with their hands?
Yeah, you got to do it with their hands. You'll see some, especially some of your younger members may use a halter here and there. But for the most part, if you've trained that lamb to walk well, which most of these exhibitors have done a great job doing, they should be able to lead if you kind of pull the inside of their jaw, kind of where like your chin hangs down, that skin under your jaw, you should be able to pull that, and you use the other free hand to help lead it around the ring.
Wonderful.
And then hopefully it doesn't get away.
Right, and then that's where that comes in.
Yeah, that's what a lot of hours of work before coming here have allowed you to do.
I bet.
So hopefully...
He's been trying to get his guy in here since the round started, I think.
Yeah. Just being a little stubborn today. Which generally when you're dealing yearling or any of these mature ewes, they can either be really easy to walk because they've done this before, they like doing this, or they can be a complete pain in the neck because they remembered what happened last time and didn't like their experience at fair the first time, so they're going to fight it. So yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag with mature ewes getting them to walk.
I bet it is.
Definitely did. If you get off on the side and you start looking at her, you can really
days on feed and really get her ready to go out there with that buck, I think that she have a lot more potential to bring on some lambs for next year. But a good set of ewes for these young men.
With that class, Damian Dodge, your champion yearling ewe, followed up by Will Stout and then Bryce Dodge.
Damian Dodge and reserve to Will Stout. You're in the feeder lamb class with Damian Dodge entering the ring. Ring, we have Peyton Decker, Courtney Decker, and Hunter and Shaken.
So here we got a class of feeder lamb individuals. So the feeder lamb portion. So lambs traditionally, most lambs you're going to see, especially later today, are born January, February, whereas some of these lambs were born May, March, pushing April. So their maturity cycle is a little bit later in the ball game than what they are today. So, for example, these probably aren't quite ready yet for market weight because they haven't hit midnight on their life growth cycle. So this is why we've got the feeder lamb class in for some of those lambs who are really good lambs. They just were born later. That's so a lot of these in a normal year you could use these like Clay County Fair lambs would be more when they're pushing probably their
They'll have a couple more
right
months,
time.
right?
Yeah, you give them a few more weeks and they're going to be right back, looking like the market lambs you'll see later today are.
You have to be impressed with the feeder lamb class here, and I know that the rules at this county are a lot different than some. Most of them are about that 100-pound range and under is the feeder lambs, and it's 120 under here. This ewe lamb is extremely impressive. She's very powerful, and if you get up over top of her, you can feel that tremendous rack shape, and you have to really, really appreciate that. She's definitely the longest measuring in the Christmas morning, and there's not a whole lot you can discount her for today. The young lady's whether in second. He might give up a little bit of that rack shape and maybe a little bit more of that lower leg in comparison to my personal favorite, but there's not a lot that you want to say is terrible about it. You look at him from the side and he's very tremendous in his bone work. He's got a lot of that big-footed stoutness that I really like to see, and he's very, very powerful. The two to follow up the class, the young man with the dark fibered sheep, you look at him and there is a lot of that great aspects to him. He's very, very attractive in his side profile. He does have a lot of potential for a lot of that muscle expression to really explode. You give him a few more days on feed and you might see him a little bit higher up. The young man to round off the class, he's just completely outpowered today. There's not much for expression in this lamb, but he's got a lot of potential there. You gotta appreciate the boldness of his rib and how clean he is through that front 1/3. But a great class top to bottom.
For the feeder lamb class, Peyton Decker took grand and Courtney Decker in reserve.
So if your feeder lamb individuals there, Peyton Decker champion, Courtney Decker in reserve. Now we're going to get into the market lambs. So we got 4 in our first class here. These are going to be ranging from 120 to 125 pounds. So a pretty tight weight bracket, which is always good. So then you get to actually see how the traits and benefits of each lamb, not just I'm 20 pounds heavier, so I look better.
Right.
It's good to see a tight weight bracket here. And here we're a little bit different than what we saw earlier with the ewes. So with these lambs, muscularity becomes important. Because at the end of the day, they have hit 12 o'clock midnight, and they're going on with the next point in their lives after today.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. So we're not necessarily, structure's not as important. That whole look, instead we want muscle. We want these to be good lambs that are going to hang a good carcass on the rail when it's their time. So these are on the lighter end here. I think we have 4 classes of market lambs. So we'll see anywhere from 120 up to 150. Industry-wise, 120 is generally where we start selling a lot of our market lambs around here. And then some will go straight to a processing facility. Others will go sit in a feedlot and gain some more weight. Whereas other parts of the nation, like out west, they'll sell lambs at 180 pounds.
Oh, okay.
And that's normal. So since we raise lambs that grow faster, put on muscle faster.
And I heard the judge mention that O'Brien County does have different guidelines for that, 120 and 100. Is there a difference? Do you know why that is? All depends on what you want. It depends what you consider a market-ready lamb. Most lamb buyers sell you 120s where they want them at. 100 probably just gets more kids being able to be involved maybe in the other counties where O'Brien's probably pretty well set.
Yeah.
These went to Peyton and Fort Eden.
Overall power and expression in comparison to the 3 above him. but you give them a few more days on feed, and that definitely could change, no problem. Great class from top to bottom.
So with that Class 1, champion goes to Courtney Deckers and reserve to Peyton Decker.
Brandon reserve went to Courtney Decker.
Actually, both lambs were Courtney Deckers, so first and second both there. Now we got Class 2 market lambs. These will be ranging from 130 to 140 pounds.
Peyton Decker, Bryce Dodge, and Trey Hyatt.
So, yep, the 3 lambs we got in here, there's only a 10-pound difference in weight. However, there's a lot of difference in types and sizes and kinds, which is due to how some lambs grow differently, where their 12 o'clock may be actually at 160, whereas others it's right now. So even though it's only a 10-pound weight difference, even some of these may be actually the same weight. They may look very different just depending on how they're structured as a sheep.
And that's kind of the way it is with people, too. They say when you're trying to lose weight, but you're gaining muscle, you might stay the same weight.
Yeah.
It's just you're lean and okay.
And different ones, if they grow really tall, if they're where they hit 12 o'clock a lot later down the line than a shorter. I mean, take me as an example at 5'7". Yeah, my 12 o'clock was a lot faster than somebody who hit 6'4".
Right. Interesting. Still a lot. These are too hot to wear. You can also just hold it like this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I just take it off and get a drink.
Yeah.
Here.
Excuse me. I'm sorry about that.
studied her, especially on the walk. She's getting a little bit down on the walk. She's just not quite there in the stoutness of the bone work as my personal favorite. Then you come in and you round out the class with this young man's weather. He's extremely long in his hiding saddle. He's definitely the longest handling in that loin, and you really have to appreciate him. He just gives up that power in comparison to my top two, but an excellent class.
And with that Class 2 Market Lambs, Peyton Decker champion with Trey Hagg as reserve. So now we bring out the heavyweights in the third class here of Market Lambs. Weight ranges from 145 to 150.
Peyton Decker and Trey Hagg. And Skylar Tesson showing the Trey Hagg.
So not super, 145 to 150 is what our weight scale is. Not the biggest lambs we've ever seen here, but this is a good ending weight for a lot of these lambs here. So as we get into the heavies, it becomes really important when you're feeling to make sure that your condition level is correct and we're not overly fat, because as these lambs keep getting bigger, they don't keep getting taller. Eventually, this is where they get in the feel, and then you can start feeling muscle versus fat.
Okay.
Whereas muscle's going to have shape. So like when we think of like a bodybuilder, they got a ton of muscle, right? So they're going to bring a lot of shape to it. Whereas a lamb who's not heavy muscled is going to be flat, and there's not, because fat doesn't have shape to it.
Right.
You know, when we talk about my kids with judging fundamental stuff, anytime you see livestock that looks like a canoe, where it's widest at the middle and not at the ends, that's not a good sign. It means we're putting on too much condition. So that's what really critical here in these heavyweight classes, is just to make sure that they're putting on the right condition. And all these exhibitors did a great job feeding them to the right level, and none of them are pushing. Yes. Look great. Got no canoes out there, so that's good.
No canoes today.
No canoes.
give and take in this top three, and with Lamb's cooperation, you really have to study them to really get a true evaluation on them. The young ladies, whether to start the class, when you really have to appreciate this lamb is when he stands there and she's just off to the side of him. And she's not even trying to power him because he doesn't try to overpower himself then. When she gets on him and she gets him powered up a little bit, it makes him look washed out on the loin. The second she pulls away, you can see how great he is in that top line. He's extremely level. He's very long-sided. He's got a lot of power. He's got all that width that you really have to appreciate. The two weathers to come in second and third, it's a lot of give and take between them. When it came down to it, I went more for structural correctness versus absolute freshness. The young man's weather in second, he does a pretty good job on a lamb that's fighting him. When you look at him from the side, he's a little bit cleaner in that front 1/3. He's got a lot of power and boldness to that shoulder that you have to appreciate. The young lady's weather in second, he's extremely hard handling. When you get into these bigger lambs like this, you tend to get him a little bit over conditioned, and he might be just getting there. I think with his weight, it drops him down in the hocks just a little bit too much. I'd like to square him up over that hip. The young man's weather finish off the class. He's very attractive from the side. He just doesn't have that power that we see in the top three. I'd like to clean him up a little bit more in his chest and maybe drop him down a little bit more in that flank in order to place him higher today. But congratulations to those four.
So with that class,
Peyton Decker received grand and Trey Haig with reserve.
so in that class of heavies, Peyton Decker was your champion with Trey Haig as reserve. Next here we have a class of white bred influence. So these are like those speckled face ewe lambs we saw earlier in the show. These are the weather equivalents of the speckles. So this is a speckled face lamb. And since due to their breeding strategy, since when you breed to a white face ewe, they're not going to grow as fast and not going to put on its muscle as fast as what the other lambs you saw earlier are. So that's why they have their own class, because it's a little unfair. It's like comparing a little bit of apples to oranges. No matter how good of a speckled-faced lamb you're going to have, it's still not going to be able to. So with that, we have our own class for it.
All right, this is just a single entry class, but you really can't condemn him for that. He's got a very nice lamb right here. He's definitely getting into that market weight already. He said he's weighing about 145. When you get into that, sometimes you can get him a little bit fatty, but definitely not an over-conditioned lamb. He was extremely long in that hide saddle. That loin is extremely long, and you really have to appreciate this lamb for it. If I can make him just a little bit more expressive in his muscle, that would be just a bonus. But he's definitely got a nice looking lamb here today.
And that was Bryce Dodge with your champion white bred influence lamb. Now at this time we're going to bring in all of those champion market lambs. We'll bring in the champions and reserves, and it'll be our final drive. Select your champion and reserve champion market lamb individual. Out of Class 1, we're going to have Courtney Decker, I apologize, with her champion lamb, and along with Courtney Decker, we'll bring a reserve champion lamb out as well. In Class 2, we'll have Peyton Decker with her champion lamb with Trey Haig in the reserve, and then Peyton Decker out of Class 3 with Trey Haig as the reserve lamb.
Showmanship will be in the order of senior, intermediate, then junior.
So we're waiting on a few more here. From a judge perspective, this is probably one of your hardest decisions to make. It's the biggest decision you got to make all day. Because no longer when it's a 5-pound weight difference, it's easier to sort. Whereas this, you got 20, 30 pounds, you got to pick the best lamb. which can be a little misleading depending on what weight looks like, so you got to balance all that together. But she's done a great job today sorting these lambs, and wait to see your final drive of market lambs.
Showmanship will follow the championship garden names.
So always remember that. You have an excellent set here for you. And if you kind of look at it, we're looking at a lot of sheep that are extremely similar in their type of kind. We have a lot of power in this final drive, and I'm very impressed. I don't want to talk about each of them individually because we talked about it in class. When it comes down to it, it's my opinion today. Everybody's just going to have to live with it because tomorrow you could have a different person in here and it will be a completely different decision. When it comes down to my personal preference, I'm one that I like them stout. I like them powerful. I'm not too big if they're extremely long-sided. And if they are short-sided, it's not that big of a deal either. I just want one that's going to show me a lot of power that I know that when it goes to that packing plant, there's going to be a lot of meat in it, and it's going to be impressive. And I think I can easily find that out here. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to congratulate your grand, and we're going to have a second to evaluate, and we'll find yourself in reserve as well. So put your hands together for these individuals again.
Your champion market lamb goes to Peyton Decker with the champion lamb out of Class 2.
Overall grand champion market lamb individual went to Peyton Decker.
Now our judge is working on the selection for reserve, getting one last field.
I wanted to give this young lady just a little bit of a chance to show me what she's got with this new lamb, and it continues along with all the ones that I had in my first place lineup. There is a lot of power. There's a lot of freshness. And to be honest with you, when it comes down to it, you can get a little bit more eye appeal versus power. I'm A-okay with that too. So I'm going to lady in that class with you, my reserve.
And Trey Hagg as your reserve champion market lamb with the reserve champion out of that same class.
Market lamb went to Trey Hagg. Piracy Insurance and Hartley is sponsoring the trophies for the grand champion and reserve grand champion market lambs. We appreciate their support.
And now we got showmanship time here, so we're going to start with the senior showman. And then we'll have intermediates and then the juniors. So with our senior showmanship here, we have members from grades 10 through 12, which, let's see how many we got here. Maybe a single entry category. Yes. Yep. So this is just Trey. So we got a single entry and showmanship, and on the senior side, the showmanship.
Cooperative Farmers Elevator, partnering with other sites, is presenting plaques to the top junior, intermediate, and senior showperson. We thank them.
I only have one senior today, and I like having the seniors first because they're the ones that have had the experience. They know what they're doing. And I will tell you, I'm one of those judges. Showmanship is near and dear to my heart. You could have the best lamb in that barn, or you could have the worst lamb in that barn, and you could win or lose based on your showmanship ability. The young lady has had a few lambs fight her today, but she's done a very, very good job of presenting them to me. She knows where I'm at. She knows what she needs to do. The other thing that I really like, and that's the great thing about 4-H, is this is learning. We are doing this for an industry. This is not just to go out and find the coolest show lamb you possibly can and go out and win every banner and trophy you can all summer long and into the fall. This is, you are raising this lamb to take to market. So why? And the biggest thing is that I like to ask, so maybe some of you intermediates and juniors are paying attention. A few things that I like to ask is what you're feeding them, protein percentage, and you're going to hear that from a lot of judges. My seniors, I really like to get in depth. I want to know, do you know your guys' go market weight? I'm not talking for individual lands, I'm talking for the industry, because that's what we're feeding for, the industry. I want to know if you know those parts of those lambs. Do you know where the rack is? Do you know where the loin is? And do you know where that hind saddle is? Because that hind saddle, that's your money maker right there. That is your meat. So go back, ask mom and dad if you don't know, and see if you can get it figured out. So those are just kind of the things that I like to do as a judge, because I know that I was questioned a lot. And this young lady does a good job, so give her a round of applause.
Senior Showmanship Champion to Trey Head.
Wonderful, Joss. And he's right down there just checking in and giving us great commentary, so we appreciate it. I've been going back and forth too, so I'm glad to hear that. Good. Well, thank you. Wonderful. Appreciate it. Glad to hear that. That's one more day. We sure appreciate our O'Brien County Farm Bureau. Would you like to say hi real quick? And just we have one of our sponsors here with us of today's live broadcast, and you can't actually hear anything in there. It's more just talking into the microphone. But thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself again, if you don't mind.
I'm Phyllis Postma. I'm the Office Administrator for O'Brien County Farm Bureau.
Wonderful, and I appreciate that Farm Bureau helped us bring this live broadcast today on the Fuller Digital Solutions YouTube page. I know you've been bouncing back and forth through all the streams that we're providing today.
Right, and I've been posting them on our Facebook so we can share them with others too.
Well, thanks, Phyllis, for coming by, and we still have a few more days, and the weather sure is great out here, isn't it?
Yes, it's great, and we really appreciate all the commentaries that have been added to the program. So
wonderful. Thank you, Phyllis. I appreciate that. Just want to make sure we had a chance to say thank you to them, along with the O'Brien County Fair Board. They're the ones who approached Fuller Digital Solutions about getting these live streams because we know it's an unusual fair season, no doubt about that. We don't have the usual fun that we might have, but we are able to do this live stream so you could be a part of the action. We know we have a lot of family and friends watching around the area and around the country, really. We could send this link to anyone and they could watch it. Right now, of course, we're live, but this recording will stay up on our YouTube channel so that you can watch this at a later date. And maybe some of these kids will get a chance to go back and watch. You know, they can maybe get tips. I certainly appreciate all the hard work that they're putting in, and I assume all of these exhibitors will have a nice rest tonight if they have a little time to rest, because they're probably going to be back here tomorrow. We will have the beef show live streaming as well. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be the swine show. Again, this is our senior showman. Excuse me, we just had our senior showman. This is our intermediate showman.
is Showmanship, because I really, really like to teach these kids and everything. And in fact, one of them, I was like, this is not fair because I'm sweating more than you guys are. I know it's kind of funny to watch the pregnant lady waddle around the ring. But you usually sweat a lot harder than I am. But these kids did an excellent job, and I really appreciate that. A few of them probably did ask a few questions before they came in, because they knew it. Either they didn't know beforehand, or they asked the questions, and they did have a lot of the right answers for me. When it comes down to it as well, it's going to be somebody that's got to present their lamb. I talked to each of them, not only about the industry, but I talked to them about their showmanship throughout the day. I know a few things that's very important maybe for the juniors coming in and watching some of these kids. You are not too cool to touch those legs and set those legs. That is some very important, and I let these guys know. And guess what? You listen to me, because even though you didn't think I was watching, as soon as you came around, what'd you do? You set those legs. Very, very good job, and I appreciate that. Always be ready, and always listen to other people, and kind of watch everyone, mimic them. If you see the big showmen at those big shows that you go to, watch them and really learn from them. That's what I always did. But the number one thing that helped my showmanship ability was I set my sheep up in front of the mirror every single day. And then I knew what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. And better yet, how to control those sheep. So it looks like I get to actually go out and pick a grand, a reserve, and a third. And all of you have done an excellent job today. Really take what I say with a grain of salt. I really hope that you did learn, and I hope that you continue to want to learn. I'm not saying that I am by far the best, but I have a lot of miles on my belt of showing, and I have judged a lot of showmanship contests. So I just know that you guys have done an excellent job today. I'm going to go out and I'm going to pick your top 3.
Your champion intermediate showman goes to Courtney Decker. Reserve goes to Jarrett Roos, and third place goes to Courtney Decker. No, not Courtney. Peyton Decker. So sorry about that. So now we've got one heat of juniors. And then after that, we're going to bring back our champion senior showman, champion intermediate showman, and champion junior showman for an overall showman. And then after that, that concludes, well, we've got the bottle lamb portion of the event. And then after the bottle lambs, we'll bring on the goats. So.
Because I've got to be in the ring for the bottle. Yeah, I've got to ask the kiddos some questions.
Did you also do judging? Is that
like I judged in college a little bit. I don't judge it. I don't have that time.
Yeah, it seems like it takes quite a bit of time.
Between teaching stuff and face stuff this time of year. And then, Egg Teachers Essential.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I also a high school baseball umpire. So
that's no free time.
That fills most of June.
Sounds like.
Okay. Yep.
Chad's probably.
We have two young men that I just gave them their suggestions. We're really learning, we're getting out there. Being able to present your ladies is very important. And being able to get out there and just show them and know where the judge is and hold that head high is the key at this age. And they've done an excellent job today. Your champion will be this young man, your Roy's will be this young man. Congratulations.
Junior Showmanship champion went to Will Stout and reserved to Hunter and Shaken.
Hey, your champion, Junior Showman, goes to Will Stout. Now we're going to bring in your 3 champion showmen, and we're going to have the overall championship showman. So for the seniors, we'll have Trey Hagg. For the intermediates, we will have Courtney Decker. And then out of the juniors, we have Will Stout.
Once again, the clover elevator.
I believe this is the only show we'll see all week that will reward an overall showmanship. So recognize the best showman out of the entire day. Then after that, we get the Bottle Lamb show. So stay tuned.
Junior wins. My brother runs as a little 4th grader. I think he's the only 4th grader to win. As a first year, yeah. It's a lot. That's cool. An overall showmanship. I don't even think you need to hold that lane. Let's just walk forever. Just wanted it to. No. That thing was just so tame.
Definitely going to have that play when certain people call.
with that, Trey Hagg was recognized as your top overall showman in today's sheep show.
We'd like to thank Lynette Soden and family.
Now we'll
Keith Rush representing the traveling showmanship plaque to the top overall show person.
now we're gonna have one lamb come in for a 4-H bottle lamb, and then after that we will have the
Reminder that all
Clover Kid bottle lamb show.
trophies/plaques through the window in the back room of the fair office after the show. We will now have the bottle lamb project with Kate Dow.
So with this bottle lamb project, unfortunately there are lambs that if a mama ewe doesn't have milk or unfortunately dies, that we need to find milk for the mama, so that becomes via the bottle. So this is why bottle lambs, they're an interesting sort. So usually you feed these 2-3 times a day, feed them their bottle. They become essentially pets to you. I remember walking on the farm, we have a few bottle lambs here and there. They follow you around everywhere. And but no, these exhibitors done a great job helping this lamb through the entire project. And so on the 4-H side, this is our 1 4-H entry, and she's doing this as her 4-H project. After this, we'll have the Clover Kids, which are all of our little guys and gals who are getting their first or second experience in the ring showing a lamb. So it should be a fun experience to watch some bottle lambs show.
And do these, real quick, those cloverleaf kids, as they come up, they don't all have to actually have lambs. Sometimes just farmers or other students.
Yeah, sometimes we work and find lambs so they can get in the ring. But a lot of these have lambs, or you have 1 or 2 bottle lambs, or they got it from a neighbor. And yeah, and hopefully we'll see him in 2 or 3 years showing lambs at the fair down the road.
All right, we are live here at the Sheep and Goat Show, and now we do have our Clover Kids. These are bottle lamb or goats, and Eric Komos has been joining us on the broadcast today, and now he is down in the ring. He's helping these kids out. This is my co-host today, Eric Komos. A wealth of knowledge. Certainly glad to have him with us today. But he's going to help these kids learn a little something about showmanship and working with these animals. Again, we want to thank the O'Brien County Farm Bureau office here in Primgar and the O'Brien County Fair Board for inviting us along today. Let you enjoy this.
So welcome to the Clover Kid bottleneck portion of the event. So we're going to go ask some of our young exhibitors about their lambs. First, if we want to give all the exhibitors a round of applause for bringing their lambs in. We'll start with our first lamb here. So what's your name?
Margaret.
What's your lamb's name?
Fluffball.
Fluffball, okay. What do you feed Fluffball? That's good. What do you like most about Fluffball? Is there anything you don't like about Fluffball? Well, let's give Fluffball a round of applause. Good work. Now, what's your name? Marley. So, what's your lamb's name? Okay. What do you feed Tucker? What do you like most about Tucker? He is colorful. He got some hair too. Hair shit. Is there anything you don't like about Tucker? You like Tucker. Okay, let's give a big round of applause. Come on down. There we go. Let's go on. Okay, what's your name? Leo. What's your lamb's name, Leo?
Tip.
Tip's another. He's got some hair and wool too. He's another hair sheep, right? What do you feed Tip?
Corn and hay.
Corn and hay.
Yeah.
What do you like most about Tip?
The salt.
Anything you don't like about Tip?
No.
So let's give Tip a round of applause. So what's your name?
Aubrey.
Now what's your lamb's name?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
That's the name. Makes sense. So Aubrey, what do you feed ice cream? Just ice cream?
Corn and protein.
No ice cream with it? What's your favorite part about ice cream?
Got a speckled face.
That was a speckled face. Good. Anything you don't like about ice cream?
He's a little stubborn.
A little stubborn. Oh, maybe some ice cream. Let's give ice cream a nice round of applause. Even though you're a little stubborn today. Good work.
Honey.
You like pruning, nothing wrong with pruning? Good? Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Good work. So what's your name?
Brennan.
Okay, what's your lamb's name?
Frosty.
Okay, so Brennan, what do you feed Frosty? Frosty.
Beginner's grade.
What's your favorite part about Frosty?
He follows us around the yard every day, and we'll do all the work.
Anything you don't like about Frosty? Or? Let's give Brennan and Frosty a big round of applause. And last but not least, this thing was a NASCAR race. I think you would have won it there, buddy. Okay, what's your name? Carson. What's your last name, Carson? What?
Diggs.
Diggs. Okay, what do you feed Diggs every day? What? Do you like it? Yeah. What's your favorite part about Diggs? That's good. Okay, anything you don't like about Diggs? They don't always listen though. They are sheep. But, good. Give Carson Diggs a round of applause. Very good work. Way to show your lamb. Good work. Hopefully, some of you guys will be back here in a year. Well, hopefully next year if you still go over here. Or if in a couple of years you can show an actual lamb. And we can show a lamb in a 4-H show in a few years. So good work. Let's take 2 more big laps around, and then we'll go out the door. Let's give these visitors one great big round of applause. And we'll take a 5 to 10 minute break between the conclusion of the show and the go show. So we'll see y'all back in 5 to 10.
Again, this is the Bottle Bucket Calf Show, Cloverleaf Kids. We had that earlier. This is the sheep show. We'll have lambs, and the goats are coming up next. We will take a short break. Appreciate Eric Komos joining us today as our commentator. He's just coming back from the ring here in a few minutes. We'd also like to thank O'Brien County Fair Board and the O'Brien County Farm Bureau. Now, some organizations do projects. Others offer great services or support great causes. Here in Iowa, there's one organization that does all 3. It's the O'Brien County Farm Bureau.
Sorry about that. Check. Sorry about that. Attention exhibitors, if you have shown today, your ribbons are available in the fair office. That means rabbit, poultry, bottle bucket, sheep. So please go and pick your ribbons up before you leave today. Thank you.
We're making Emily get on the camera today because she hasn't been on hardly at all, and she's doing a lot of this work of organizing and communicating. So we sure appreciate that. Here's my co-worker, Sarah, who you just heard on the poultry show. Was it a good show?
It was a good show.
All right, the link is up on our YouTube channel. You can watch it there. It's all done, but we kept the video there.
I know what the judge is looking for, what kind of chicken it is. So.
Awesome. All right, Sarah even got on the screen. How about that, young lady? We're going to take a break here while we wait. We'll just kind of leave it here so we keep the same video stream. We appreciate everyone joining us. Don't go anywhere, or if you do, go to the restroom and come right back to your stream so you can watch as we get into goats coming up next. It's Fuller Digital Solution live stream from the O'Brien County Fair, brought to you by the O'Brien County Fair Board and O'Brien County Farm Bureau.
Okay, thank you. And welcome back here to O'Brien County Fair, brought to you by Fuller Digital Solutions with our proud sponsor, O'Brien County Farm Bureau. We're starting here with our goat show. Start things off on the goat side. We got a class of market goats. So we got 4 classes for you today, and then showmanship. We'll start with the market goats, then 3 classes of breeding does. And then we got showmanship, and that is our goat show for today. So 2 classes in here. On the goat side, believe it or not, they may look a little bit different from a lamb, but the same things are still principle. Muscle still matters. Size, bone mass is still very important.
Well, I get to the first class of market weathers, and then I find out this is just my final drive. So we do have 2 very, very nice looking goats here. If you get off to the side and you really start to study them, we'll start with this young lady. She's got a lot of great aspects right here. If you look at this goat from the side profile, he's very, very eye appealing. You get over his top, he's a very fresh handling goat. He's got a nice crisp loin edge. He gives up a little bit of stoutness, and he's not quite as big in his footwork as I'd like to see. The young lady's goat right here, you get over him and he's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of expression over his top. He's got so much of that rack shape that you really have to appreciate. He's definitely a bigger footed, stouter type of goat. So he'll be our grand, and this one will be our reserve. Congratulations.
So your grand champion market goat goes to Michaela Meyer. Well, with the reserve champion market goat goes to Mackenzie Meyer. And that concludes the market goat show of this event. Now we're going to move into the breeding does. So just like when we talk about with breeding ewes, a lot of the same principles apply here. We're going to start with the doe kids. So these are the ones that are just kids that started. They were born between November of. No, sorry. These are ones. Both of these were born in January of this year. So these are just little kids.
Michaela Meyer and Mackenzie Meyer.
You know, knock on wood for me for saying this, but the goats are unusually quiet here to start this. Usually they're a bit more rambunctious than we're seeing early on here. There's the personality we come to know and enjoy with the goat show. Yeah, don't worry, they're not frustrated. They're just goats being goats. That's sheep with hair and a little more personality. That's
the young man's go to start the class so much great aspects there. If you really study her, you really look at her, and you have to appreciate how pretty profiling she is. She's extremely clean through that front 1/3. She's very stout and big-footed. When you get over the top of her, you're going to see a lot of power in that rack shape, and she just continues it on down her top. The young lady's doe in second. She's almost just a smaller version of our class winner. You get a lot of stoutness. You got the depth of body. If I could maybe change her to make her look a little bit more like our class winner, I'd give her a little bit more in that lower leg. The two does to round off the class, the young lady in third. Unfortunately, she's just getting outpowered today. We have a lot of eye appeal in this doe. I really, really appreciate her in that front 1/3. I'd like to make her a little bit stouter, a little bit bigger footed. The young man's doe to finish off the class, she just doesn't have that depth of body and that spur and rib like you're seeing in these top 3. She gives up a lot of that structural correctness in comparison to them as well, but a great set top to bottom.
Okay, so with that class, your champion breeding doe kid goes to Jason Stammer with the reserve to Michaela Meyer. Now we're going to bring in the yearling meat goat breeding does.
And Michaela Meyer with reserve.
So just like with our yearling ewes we saw earlier on the sheep show side of things, these are does that have had a kid. Or in theory, or over a year of age. Most of these have probably had a kid at this time in their lives.
Entering the ring is Kirsten Sandy.
Just a single entry, but a very impressive doe for this young lady. She's very, very attractive. You get up over her, and she's got a lot of tremendous rack shape to her. She's very impressive over her loin edge. She's very, very maternal in her appearance, and you really have to appreciate her for that. She's got a lot of spring rib and that depth of body, and she's one that she could go on and she could raise kids for this little girl and have no problem whatsoever. It's definitely one that you would want to keep back in your herd and keep producing more just like her. This is a very excellent doe. The young lady deserves a round of applause.
Your champion yearling breeding doe is Kirsten Sandy. Next we'll bring in the mature meat goat breeding does. So these are older does that have had a few kids down the line, and all of these were born in 2017, so they are no mathlete, but that would make them a 3-year-old, I believe.
out quite handily. When you study her from the ground up, you just see how big-footed and stout she is and just how powerful she is. And the great thing about this doe, when she's as powerful as she is over the top, she just doesn't give up that attractiveness, and you really have to appreciate her for that. The young lady right here will be our second place. She's got an attractive doe here. If I could maybe change her just a little bit, I'd maybe give her a little bit more on that lower leg, maybe stock her up a little bit. But she's definitely got that depth of body and that spring of rib that you have to appreciate. The young man in third, unfortunately, he's just outpowered in this class. He's got an attractive doe. She's very clean through that front 1/3, and I like how she has that depth of body. She just needs a little bit more spring of rib, maybe just a little bit more condition to put on her to place any higher today. But a very, very good set of does.
For the mature meat goat breeding doe, we have Michaela Meyer with Grant and Mackenzie Meyer with Reserve.
So your champion mature meat goat breeding doe.
Right now is Michaela Meyer, Mackenzie Meyer, Jason Stammer, and Kirsten Sandy.
Is Michaela Meyer, and the reserve went to Mackenzie Meyer. There we go. So now we're going to bring up your final drive of champion meat goat breeding does. So out of the kid class, we've got Jason Stammer. Out of the yearling doe class is Kirsten Sandy. And out of the mature meat goat breeding doe is Michaela Meyer. So we've got 3 different goats and a 3-year age range between all those goats. So.
We have 3 does lined up right here that are very excellent in their type and kind, and there's a lot of different ways that you could really run with them. And if you're going to get down to it, you might get a little bit picky on each of them. That's when you're going to have maybe one excel to the top a little bit more. If you want to talk about just a little bit, the big stout, they're very big footed. If I could change a few things, maybe in this doe right here, I'd clean her up a little bit more in that chest board in comparison to maybe these two. When you're looking at the yearling and the doe kid here, we're looking at a doe kid that might be getting down just a little bit in her pasterns, not quite as structurally correct. And the young lady's doe right here, she's very, very powerful. If you want to get maybe a little bit picky on her in comparison to some of the other ones I have, maybe give her a little bit more in that lower leg. But when it comes down to it, you got to find something that's going to go out there and it's going to produce you something that you want to continue on in your program. And I think that we can easily find that out here with 1, 2, maybe even all of them. But one of them just excels a little bit more to the top today, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to congratulate your grand and reserve.
Hey. Your champion breeding doe went to Kirsten Sandy out of the yearling class with the reserve overall breeding doe going to Jason Stammer out of the doe kid class.
Our overall grand champion breeding doe went to Kirsten Sandy and reserved to Jason Stammer.
So with that, that rounds up the whole live goat portion of the event. Now we're going to get to showmanship, which will have senior showmanship, which I'd bet the farm that Mackenzie Meyer's going to win this one because she is the only entry in senior showmanship, so she's got a pretty good chance. Oh, yeah.
Mackenzie Meyer.
A single entry, and then we'll have 2 on the intermediates and 2 on the juniors. Now, I'm just saying, Mackenzie's doing a great job showing today. Just she's in a class of 1.
Like I said, I'm here today to teach, and I'm thinking that this girl actually learned something today. So I really hope that she takes that back and learns about it. And we talked scrapie tags. And if that's something that you don't really know about, it's not as prevalent in sheep and goats now as it used to be when the scrapie tags were first brought out. But it's not just an identifier for that. It actually goes back to the Scrapie's disease, which is a lot like mad cow. And the U.S. government actually has us identify our flocks in case we have a breakout, correct? And then they can go back to that specific animal and that specific farm that had a Scrapie's outbreak, which we don't really see anymore. We don't really hear much about mad cow either. But when it comes down to it, this lady does an excellent job. I mean, she'd be one that I would say, you know what, go ahead, you can show my goats all day long because you do an excellent job presenting them. It's very unfortunate that she doesn't have somebody else in here to contend it against because I think she'd really come to the top very proud today.
And it sounds like Eric was right. Mackenzie Meyer got it.
You were on the money.
Shocker, I know. And now I bring up our intermediate showman. I got another bet the farm one here. I'm going to bet a Dodge boy's going to win this one as we got Bryce Dodge and Damian Dodge. So either way, I think your champion intermediate showman's going to come out of the Dodge household. Now, speaking of our other events here at Fair this week, we got tomorrow will be a long haul with the cattle show. What time are we starting on that?
Well, I think they're going to advance cattle. We start at 10.
10 o'clock with the pen cattle coming in, and then at 11 we'll start with the lead cattle. So So be sure to stick around, tune in tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, I believe it is a 10 o'clock start.
Or maybe I got the 2 days mixed up for you just to make things tough.
No, I'm pretty sure Penn Cattle.
Oh, okay. I didn't think it was. You're right. Oh, yeah. I think they moved those for Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, whereas, yes, on Wednesday we'll have the swine show starting at 10 o'clock. So you can see all the 6s, the 3s, and then the individuals. And all the pork you want to see in the big show on Wednesday. Cattle show on Tuesday. So a full week here of offerings at the O'Brien County Fair.
All right. Well, I got to see these kids in the sheep ring, and I kind of asked them some more of the same questions that I had asked them. And it's about what you feed them, and I just wanted to see if maybe they were curious and went back and asked mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or whoever helps them. And they do both do a really good job. I keep giving this young man here a little bit of a hard time because he's so tall and he's got such a little goat. And I see that all the time. It's always the tallest kid with the smallest animal, and it just cracks me up every single time. When it comes down to it, you guys both do an excellent job. I know that you're going to go out there and you're going to learn even more about your animals, what you're doing, what you're feeding them. Today, we may have gotten just a little bit more answers out of one versus another. So this young man will be our champion, and this will be our reserve. So very good job.
So your champion intermediate showman goes to Damian Dodge. Reserve champion goes to Bryce Dodge. That's going to bring up, last but not least on our full slate today, the junior showmanship. And I've bet the farm twice. I can't bet it the third time because we have two kids of different relations. So we'll have Michaela Meyer and Kirsten Sandy in this class of junior showmanship, which will round out our goat show here at the 2020 O'Brien County Fair.
Just another reminder that all exhibitors will receive ribbons and trophies plaques through the window in the back room of the fair office after the show. Thank you.
I totally forgot I had a work meeting at 6 today. Now I'm like dreading my life. I don't want to go to the work meeting. Sorry, I forgot the work meeting. I forgot we had a co-worker picture that goes on our website and everything else. I forgot.
I forget a lot.
I know. It's fun because every other staff picture we have, I'm not in. So what would make another one?
Well, I wanted to think of a new person.
Yeah. Oh, look. There's a new girl. Wonder how long she's been there. Oh, yeah, Cynthia.
to see attitudes, and I like to see just kind of how they do with each animal, not necessarily one animal. And there's been a number of different animals acting up today, or just not wanting to walk or anything, and each of these girls have done an excellent job today. For no specified reason by any means, maybe just one is a little bit more fluid in their movements, or maybe knows exactly where I'm at just a little bit more so than the other one at any given time. But your champion will be this young lady, and your reserve will be this one. So congratulations.
Your champion junior showman goes to Michaela Meyer, with the reserve champion going to Kirsten Sandy. And with that, that wraps up today's Goat Show. That's it. In the words of Porky the Pig, that's all, folks.
Well, Eric Colmos, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, no problem.
Will you have a chance to join us the next couple of days?
You betcha. We'll see you tomorrow for a cattle show. So.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Again, we want to thank Eric for stopping by. We want to thank O'Brien County Farm Bureau for sponsoring today, and the O'Brien County Farm Board, who joined with Fuller Digital Solutions to bring you this report today. We want to thank the O'Brien County Farm Bureau. Some organizations do projects, others offer great services or support good causes. Here in Iowa, there's one organization that does all three. It's the O'Brien County Farm Bureau. From exclusive member discounts on benefits and services to community support through programs, scholarships, and financial assistance, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to making rural Iowa a better place for everyone. Call the O'Brien County Farm Bureau and join today. Thank goodness they invited us today. We're having a blast. This will end our live stream. We will leave this video on our Fuller Digital Solutions YouTube channel. You can access it at any time. Follow us on Facebook. We post the links there. Follow O'Brien County Fair on Facebook. They've posted the links there, and you can also download the O'Brien County Fair app and get results and live stream information there. Thank you again. I'm Andrea. Thanks to Sarah Williams, Simon Fuller, and of course Eric Colmos for his help today. We'll be back tomorrow with the Beef Show.